Hi guys, welcome back to the class. So today we are starting with a new chapter. We are starting with introduction and basic concepts. I hope you guys have understood the previous chapter, the intro chapter, where I have given the overview of the entire content of forensics. Okay. Now today we're gonna start with introduction and basic concepts. So please open your module or the notes or the handouts, whatever you have in front of you. Xerox copies, PDF. We'll be doing a chapter called introduction and basic concepts. Okay. And take a pen or a pencil in your hand because we'll be marking towards the end. Like the previous chapter, we'll be writing the notes so that it becomes very easy for you guys to revise, okay, before you go for the exam. So as usual, the first page, this is your cut. Now chapter overview, cut. So we start with the concept called as meaning of forensics. This is a definition. What is forensic accounting? What is fraud and what is investigation? So there are four definitions: forensics, forensic accounting, fraud and investigation. Okay. Now forensics is basically, if you see the word forensics, is basically testing, checking something, right, as per the law. So here basically you have to look up to a word called as scientific method. So when you solve a crime, whether it's a murder, dacoity or a financial fraud, okay, the way to solve scientifically, it is called as forensics. The way to solve it is called as forensics. So here forensics in general is a quite broad term. In many ways, it's a way something is minutely reviewed, that is checking in detail and analyzed so that it can serve the need of some legal requirements. Now the dictionary meaning of forensics is basically scientific method of solving crimes that involve examining objects or substances related to crime. So underline that, the scientific method of solving crime. So in the MCQ they can test you which one is the scientific method. So the definition says scientific method of solving crime is basically forensics. It is called as what? Forensics. Forensics. Please underline that here. Now when I say forensic accounting, so guys, forensic accounting means when you go in deep to solve a crime which is related to accounts. So where you are checking books of accounts, you are checking some accounting transactions, some Excel, some balances, bank statement. So you are checking the records related to accounts. It is called as forensic accounting. So you are solving a crime. Crime would be related to accounts. That is called as forensic accounting. So using forensic accounting domain means the books of accounts or accounting transactions and balances are minutely reviewed and analyzed to serve the needs of some legal requirements. So this becomes my first answer, definition of forensics. Second becomes a forensic accounting. So forensics, forensic accounting ka definition. Now the framework governing forensic accounting and investigation defined, like the FRFPC, financial reporting framework we have. So we have a framework for forensic accounting also. It says it is gathering and evaluation of evidence. It is gathering and evaluation of evidence by a professional. Professional basically means CA plus COP or a chartered accountant or any expert, because any expert can become forensic accountant, to interpret and report the finding before an authority. Authority could be income tax people, it could be GST people, it could be pollution control board, it could be IRDA, any authority who is appointing you. So this is a definition as per the framework of forensics. Okay. Now the objective of forensic accounting is to gather the facts and evidence, especially in any financial transaction and operational arrangement, to help the professional to report the findings or to reach a conclusion. But he will not express an opinion. This is very important. We are not the auditor here, guys. We are not the auditor here. We are here to establish a fact and support legal proceeding. Whether the fraud has happened or fraud has not happened. If the fraud has happened, this is a penalty, this is the imprisonment, and fraud has not happened, then you will be going away. Okay. So here we do not express opinion because we are not the auditors. Opinion, guys, is expressed by the auditor. Opinion is expressed by the auditor. Understood? So this is still second definition going on. Third. So we are numbering the questions or the concepts which we need to revise before going for the exam. Okay. Third one is a fraud. Very simple. So sir, fraud is basically cheating. Fraud is basically cheating. Intentional cheating, Here basically we will be trying to cause a harm. Sir, which harm? Financial harm. So somebody is doing cheating with you, or a wrong thing, or a deceitful act, okay, whether he is making a gain or you are suffering a loss. So because of his action he is making a gain, it is also a fraud. Because of his action you are making a loss, it is also a fraud. So here can be a wrongful gain or a wrongful loss, it is called as a fraud. Now it could be civil also, sir, it could be criminal also. It could be civil also, it could be criminal. So civil is basically where somebody has suffered a monetary loss. An individual has suffered a loss, it's a civil. Here if imagine because of some action like Nirav Modi, you must have heard about Nirav Modi. So Nirav Modi did fraud with lot of people. Lot of people suffered financial loss. PNB suffered loss. The public suffered a loss. The shareholders of PNB suffered a loss. People who have bought diamonds from him, he suffered. Those people suffered a loss. So it became a criminal activity. So if the action results into damaging, okay, to lot of people, it is called as financial fraud. It is called as criminal activity. If it is just to one person, we will say it is a civil activity. So fraud is an act which is conducted by someone to cause some form of financial harm to another through deception, like showing something wrong, something lucrative, but it is a fraud thing. This act can be civil also, it can be criminal offense also. Civil basically means generally a monetary loss which can be recovered. Criminal basically means you have to go for imprisonment also, fine plus imprisonment, depending upon how it taken place. If a person has acted against another person in a private matter, just buying and selling property, okay, and unfairly he deceived that property, so it will be called as what? Civil offense, because two people were involved, it was a contractual relationship. However, the act is reported to police as a fraud by the victim, then it can be tried as a criminal offense also. So here we can't say it is a civil or criminal, it will depending upon the severity of the offense. Like for example, if I was riding bike and I know somebody else was riding a bike, okay, he broke the signal, so it's an offense, civil offense. Civil offense, he was riding a bike, he broke the signal and he banged. There was a lady, he did not bang the lady, he banged the scooty of the lady. The scooty fell and the auntie also fell, the lady also fell. So she got some hurt. Civil act. He jumped the signal, he banged the scooty, he banged the lady, the lady fell and the lady died. So that same action now will become criminal activity. So depending upon the severity of the offense, it will be judged as civil or criminal. So depending upon the severity of the offense, it will be civil or criminal. Okay. Now, so here they have given a definition. This is the definition as per Indian Contract Act. So fraud basically means an act which is committed by a party to a contract with or with his connivance. Connivance basically means the consent. Consent or by his agent. So either he has done it or some agent has done it with an intent to deceive another party of his agent or to induce him to enter into a contract. So I am telling, "Arey boss, Baap company, amazing company, okay, invest here, yeah, let's get into contract, we'll share the profits." I know intentionally I am doing cheating with you, I am doing fraud with you guys, so it is basically a fraud. I am telling you, okay, let's together get into a contract and buy this property, it will give 100% return to us. I know this is a bogus property, fake property, so I am agreeing, I am telling you to invest here, so we both get into a contract. So either I or my agent, I am taking your consent to get into a contract, it is called as a fraud. Okay. So this is the definition, you just have to read these 5 points. Here the term fraud relates like fraudulently, intent to fraud. They have been used in the Indian Penal Code and other statutes also. Now the codes and the statutes have helped to define the key elements of the term and therefore establish whether or not the fraud has occurred. Now this is a below definition of Companies Act of fraud. Companies Act definition. So fraud basically means in affairs of a company. If a company is doing a fraud or a body corporate is doing a fraud, it includes any act where omission, something is omitted, concealed, something is hidden, any fact or abuse of position. So directors are hiding something, directors have omitted to present something in the financial statement, it is a fraud. Committed by any person or any other person with a connivance in any manner, either one director have done or 4 or 5 directors together have done, that is called consent with other person, connivance with other person, with intent to deceive to gain undue advantage from. So either they will take the advantage or to injure the interest of company, the shareholders or creditors or any other person, like to income tax people, they are doing some fraud, they are not paying taxes. To deceive the shareholders, they are not showing the true profit. Creditors, they are showing that we don't have money, even though they have money. Okay, whether or not there is a wrongful gain or a wrongful loss, it will be called as a fraud. It will be called as a fraud. So this is the definition as per section 447. This is the definition of 447. Okay. Now the framework for forensic accounting defines fraud as what? It is an intentional. What it is, guys? Intentional or a deliberate act. That means purposeful act. Intentional purposeful act to deprive another of either the property or money through cheating or other unfair means. Deception basically means showing something else. So either through deception or other unfair means. So this is a definition of fraud. Okay, as per the different framework. So this is Forensica framework. Below this was section 447. Here it was Indian Contract Act. Okay. So forensics is basically means you will be reviewing scientifically to solve the crimes. Forensic accounting basically means related to books of accounts, transactions, accounting record. Fraud basically means a wrongful act, intentional wrongful act to deceive somebody. That means to cheat somebody, either for a wrongful gain or a wrongful loss. Then the fourth definition, the fourth answer is basically, it is basically called as your investigation. Guys, what it is? It is investigation. Investigation. So investigation is basically means to establish a fact. So here what you will be doing in movies you must have seen. So with the microscope, oh, ding, 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 investigation. Interviewing the people, asking questions to the people. So whether it is for financial matters or non-financial matters, okay. So here it would be basically called as investigation. So it is a specific activities to gather what? Evidence. To gather what? To collect evidence required with the set purpose in the mind. The activities could be in the nature of forensic accounting when the matter involves financial accounting, or actors came in the form of observation when the matter involves for non-financial matters. So observing, interviewing, all those are part of investigative activities. Those are called as investigation. Now here you have to establish whether truth has to be established and presented with the fact. For example, it could be fund diversion in case of financial fraud. Funds have diverted. Company has taken a loan and those loans they have used it for personal purpose. What is the proof? You will collect that proof via investigation. So investigation, you will check the bank statement. It is called as what? Investigation. You will ask questions. It's a part of investigation. Investigation is a systematic. This is an important definition you can mark. Critical examination of facts, records, documents for some specific purpose. So if you see the word scientific examination, you will see forensic. If you see critical examination of facts, records, documents, like will is there, a stamp paper is there, you want to check the authenticity of that stamp paper, it is investigation. Okay, the person is saying truth, he was present here or he was not present here, he was somewhere else, so you will check those facts, it is investigation. It is investigation. So investigation is a critical examination. Investigation is a critical examination of evidences, documents, facts, witnesses, okay, with respect to an alleged legal, ethical or contractual violation. Okay, the examination will involve an evaluation of facts for an alleged violation with an expectation that might matter be brought to a court of a law or any regulatory body. That means it has to be present in front of some authority. That is basically investigation. Then they have given few examples. So we'll read those examples. Now these are the some examples. So as per Companies Act, guys, as per Companies Act, these are the examples. So at intermediate level you have studied, if you have taken law with me, okay, either in Hindi version or English version, we have studied this 34, 35, 36. This is basically for untrue misleading statement in prospectus, for fraudulently inducing any person to investment. These are the examples, okay. Then for personation, for acquisition of securities. For example, if you remember little, Sheikh Mohammed Abdul Ul Fakir Amir Jack Khan Sahab, we have created a fake identity to buy more shares. Then section 75, deposit chapter, acceptance of deposit with the intent to defraud the creditors. Then section 147, where auditors acted in fraudulent manner. This was in auditors chapter. Then section 213, investigation when it is carried out in fraudulent or unlawful manner. Okay, 213. This also we have done in SPOM set A. If you have done SPOM set A with me, 229 for giving any false statements, mutilation, destruction, or documents. Then 251 fraudulent making application for removal of name. So till this section were in intermediate till 147, and this we were in CA final in SPOM in investigation chapter. If you have done this with me, okay. Now let's read the example, so then this content would be over. So till now we have done 4 answers. So all the definition: forensic, forensic accounting, fraud, and investigation. Now they are giving some examples of investigation. Now, so in the exam they can take the example and ask us to find out what it is, a fraud, or it is an investigation, or it is forensic, or it is forensic accounting. Okay. Now common subjects of audit committee investigation include what all? Improper accounting for business activity. Example: manipulation of earning, falsified books, record, stock option grant, irregularities. So it is called as investigation. Illegal payment to obtain business. Okay, government contracts, bribery you are giving, it is investigation. Occupational misconduct such as embezzlement or employee theft has happened, investigation. Any conflict of interest or any related party transaction, it is part of investigation. Okay, 4 examples are there. Improper accounting of business activity, illegal payment to obtain business, operational misconduct, conflict of interest or related party transactions. Okay, so these are the examples of investigation. Now, forensics. So 90% they will use investigation ka example, and they will ask us to identify it is forensics or investigation or fraud or forensic accounting. So here this is a hypothetical example, so very rare they will ask. Okay. So the company received an anonymous handwritten letter through email in which there were serious death threats against the CEO and his family. The letter alluded to the fact that the bodily harm may be inflicted on the children of the CEO unless he took some specific action to send a specific amount of cash in currency note within the specific time in such manner that the identity of the receiver was remain unknown. The CEO informed the police, who took the envelope, came in forensic analysis. So they will check the handwritten, right? They will check the handwriting, where it was written, how it was written. So the lab undertake the forensic activity, the paper use, the possibility of capturing some fingerprints on the letter, envelope, and scrutinizing the manner in which it was done, writing was done, such as which ink is used, the nature of the writing, and deployed the expertise of handwriting expert to decipher the possibility of the writer, how it will look. So there are handwriting experts, I told you that. There are a lot of handwriting experts, they can detect how the person looks, what is the nature of that person. The police also undertook an investigation of the possible suspects and collected various samples of handwriting of the suspect. This is part of investigating activities, okay, and allow the forensic expert to match the handwriting. This is basically forensic. This is called what? Forensics. Now what is forensic accounting? So when there's a fraud happen and you check financial books, financial records, financial accounting books or concept, is called what? Forensic accounting. It is called as forensic accounting. The management of a pharma company suspected what? Pilferage in the inventory, and it appointed a professional to seek help to confirm or rule out the suspicion. He wanted to review the accounting records and the reconciliation with the physical quantities to confirm or rule out suspicions. The management wanted to initiate legal proceedings against the perpetrator in case a fraud is committed. So he will be checking all this thing. So this would be an example of forensic accounting techniques. This will be an example of forensic accounting technique. This is the way they have used it. So you need to understand the story. When you will be checking accounting records, the reconciliation, it is called as forensic accounting. When you are appointing a handwriting expert, okay, you will evaluate the paper, the writer, all those situations are called as forensics. Now you will try to establish some evidence. So improper accounting ka examples, illegal payments to obtain business, occupational misconduct, related party transaction, these are the examples of investigation. Okay, these are the examples of fraud. So here if there's written the section number, it will be clear it is a fraud. So these are the examples of all the 4 definitions. Understood my first point? So there are till now 4 questions are there. Okay. Now I'm giving you 5-7 minutes time. You will read all the definition. People who have the module, start reading from your module. In case you do not have right now handy, you can read from the screen. Slowly I will be scrolling it. Okay. Read. Done? Cool. Okay. Now next, differences between, now we are doing difference between audit, forensics and investigation. Okay, so what I'm telling you to cancel, 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 cancel. Now see, we talk from here. First it is audit, so write here audit. So this becomes your fifth answer. This talks about audit. Sir, what is audit? What is audit? Bro. Audit is an independent examination. Audit is an independent examination of the financial information of an entity, whether profit or not, with respect of the size, legal form. When such an examination is conducted with a view to express opinion thereon, the outcome of an audit is a written audit report in which the auditor expresses an opinion. So this is basically the definition of audit. You have studied this at your intermediate level. Okay, definition: kassa, waste, gobar, potty, charandi. Okay, kupai. Oops. The objective of audit is very nature statutory audit. हम क्या करते हैं? Sorry, what do we do? Sorry, my mistake. We do statutory audit. So statutory audit is undertaken to express an independent examination over the true and fairness of the financial statement. So this is a definition of audit. You know it, okay? Audit. Now what is forensic accounting? So this becomes your sixth answer. What is forensic accounting? So here, sir, what is the objective? So forensic accounting is to support legal cases. Non-CAs are also permitted. Audit is done by whom? Chartered accountant. Here, you will report the findings of the evidence which is gathered by you. It is basically primary financial fraud ke liye, and it is ICA have mandated those standards which is there in our syllabus. We'll be doing. It is called as not audit standards. It is called as FICE, Forensic Accounting and Investigation Standard. Forensic Accounting and Investigation Standards. Now, sir, what is the objective? To gather the facts and evidence. Here, the focus is little narrow. It will validate the transactions and balances. When I say transactions, it is basically P&L. Balances basically means the balance sheet, because here we talk only about accounting, forensic accounting. See, murder, suicide, all those are in criminal act, criminal procedure code. Here we are talking forensics. Here basically we are talking about financial forensics. There it is crime forensics. Now, approach, it is focused testing to confirm whether suspicions or allegation. Target, to identify or confirm the nature of violation, whether the fraud has happened or not happened. Here you require fact finding skills, scrutiny, data analysis. Presumption, you are generally neutrality. There would be neutral. You don't presume anything, you have to do the fact findings. Here, whatever evidence you have gathered, you are not to judge. You will give the evidence, you will collect that and give it to the authority. Authority will take the decision whether to penalize a person, whether to not to penalize a person, whether to put him behind bars. You are not. You are just a fact finding authority. You will collect the evidence and give it to the main authority who have appointed you. It could be IRDA, it could be police, it could be law, it could be anybody. Okay. So this is forensics. Now investigation. So 5, 6, this becomes my seventh answer. Sir, investigation. The key elements of investigations are here. It is primarily you have to check the frauds or any irregularity which is related. Here also non-CAs are permitted. It may involve law enforcement agencies like EOW, Economic Offence Wing, okay, SFIO, CBI, CID, all those people. Here there is no opinion on guilt or innocence. Either you are guilty or either you are innocent. And ICA is also mandated investigation standard which is not there in our syllabus. Here, The objective it is to uncover the potential fraud and if possible the suspects. Focus, it is very specific, check for fraudulent intention to deceive. Approach, formulate and test the hypothesis. Different scenario, okay, what if this has happened, what if this would have happened. Target, you will confirm the modus operandi, how he has done that fraud, that is called investigation. It is skills, interpersonal, because you have to interrogate people, you have to ask the questions. Probing and truth seeking interviews. Presumption, prediction, probability of fraud or irregularity. Outcome, summary of findings, conclusion and no opinion on guilt and innocence. So these are the different three elements of audit, investigation and forensic accounting. Cancel these two paras. Now, the professional can make a determination of the nature of engagement by looking at the proposed mandate, like whether he has been asked to do the audit or whether he has been asked to do the investigation or forensics. In the most cases, the mandate does not specify any procedure which would immediately direct the professional to decide the nature of engagement. The primary stakeholder may not know enough to help in this matter and would rely on regular jargons like they would use the word forensic audit or investigation even without knowing about the distinction between the two. So it is on the professional, he has to take a wise call. So they would say, "Acha, ek kaam karo na sir, do investigation. Bro, you do forensics. Fraud happened, do forensic, get the evidence." No, getting evidence is a part of investigation. Forensics is reviewing the accounting records to get into the details of fraud. Oh, you give me a report, okay, for that. Okay, I will give forensic report here. No, you give me report within your opinion. No, opinion is given in audit. So common people will use the word forensic or investigation. You should know what is the difference between it. What is audit, what is forensic, what is investigation. The mandate received from primary stakeholder mostly define the purpose of the engagement event, which eventually will define its nature. The mandate will rightly define the expected outcome. For example, the professional is informed that the management suspect there is an inventory pilferage. Inventory pilferage from the plant and unpacked finished product is probably being stolen. The purpose in calling the professionals to help to confirm whether it is happening or whether it is not happening. Now, this becomes a mandate which in most cases would point towards what we will do, what forensic accounting engagement. Now, the professional should see, does the engagement require gathering of evidence regarding legal, ethical or contractual violation? Will the findings be reported to a competent authority? Does the engagement require provision of any testimony or assistance to arbitration, mediation or any alternative dispute resolution? If all this is there, the answer to this and similar question will provide the professional. So he should answer these three questions. So this they can ask in the exam to choose odd man out. To decide whether it's a professional engagement or forensics or not, these three are the question. Does the engagement require gathering of evidence? Will the findings be reported to a authority? Does the engagement require any provision of testimony or assistance? So mark whatever I have marked. It is very important that the CEs are themselves familiar with the finer nuances of each of the above terms like audit, forensics and investigation, and mandate they define, therefore use the right terms at the right places. Understood? So this is the difference between audit, forensics and investigation. So answer number 5, 6, 7. So now you will read 5, 6, 7. Read from the screen. Done? Now, so we have done 5, 6, 7. Now we are doing 8th answer. Meaning of stakeholders. So basically this is 8th answer. So stakeholders can be of two kinds. One would be the primary stakeholders, other could be the other stakeholders. So the primary stakeholder here would be the person or the authority or a department who has appointed you. Now you will give the report to them and they will be presenting before some other people. So people who are getting affected by that, they would be called as other stakeholder. Now for example, if government has appointed you, like for example in PNB ka Nirav Modi wala fraud, so government was your primary stakeholder and that report would be presented to the general public. The general public becomes the other stakeholders. So here the appointing authority is a primary stakeholder who is often referred to as the client. They are also called as client. In some cases, the appointing authority can be identified from the content of engagement or the appointment letter and the signatories. Okay, so it could be board of directors or audit committee in case of a company, or it could be any governing body of the organization, or it could be executive management, or it could be a competent authority like a court or a educating authority or any quasi judicial body. So these are called as basically primary stakeholders. Okay. Now, all stakeholders other than primary stakeholders are called as what? Other stakeholders. Example, like the lenders, customers, suppliers, bankers, consumer, past employees, current or past employees are called as other stakeholders. So they can use these words and make a question for MCQ, which are the primary stakeholder, which are the other stakeholder. Primary is basically a client who is appointing you. Other stakeholder is basically the people who are related to the entity. Basically, it could be government, it could be customer, it could be suppliers, it could be past employees, current employees, past customers. Okay, all those people. Then roles and responsibilities, right here, RTP. Roles and responsibilities of stakeholders, RTP. You can cut this, not required. Not required to be studied. Okay. Now read for the first and the last time 2.3.1, that's meaning of stakeholders and roles and responsibilities. Just read it. Important answer is basically for us stakeholders. Primary, other. Primary who will be appointing you. People connected to them are called as other stakeholders. Read this. Done? Now, next answer. Now, my next answer is theories and vulnerabilities of fraud. Why does the fraud happen? Why? So, here, cancel this. Cancel this. Cancel this. Here. The three elements are essential to the fraud to be perpetrated as presented in fraud triangle. Oops. Fraud triangle theory. Now, there are other theories also, but here we are doing what? Fraud triangle theory. FTT. Fraud triangle theory. So, this becomes my ninth answer. Fraud triangle. Oh ho. These are the three triangle ka points. Why somebody would draw a fraud? More. M-O-R. More. We call this as more. M-O-R. Wrong, R-O-M, O-M-R, whatever you want to say. Now, it was developed by sociologists and criminologists in 1940. Was the first person to specialize in the field of understanding the frauds and why do they and what they do. Okay, so there was a guy called English boy called Donald Cressy. Okay, from my village. Oh, he was the first one to understand why the fraud happens, how the fraud happens. Now, the fraud triangle was developed by Donald Cressy. Is a model explaining the factors why the fraud happens. Okay, first one is the motive or a perceived pressure. O is the opportunity or the enablers. R, the rationalization or the justification. The same way they have written. Wow, trust me, I God promise, I have not seen this. Same way, MOR, more. Now, pictorial depiction of the fraud triangle. Motive. I want to take a revenge. I want to do this. The trigger to start. I will find out the way. Opportunity, the enablers, and the rationalization. Oh, it's everything is fair and fair, war and love and war, and we are at war. Justification. Okay. Now let's understand all these three things. When we were doing SA 240 in audit, you will be doing with me in case if you have not started audit with me. So in audit, there's a channel called SA 240. There they have given these reasons. It is same thing only. There they have given as a pointer form. Here they have given in the descriptive form. Okay. It is basically what? Motive or perceived pressure. Motive. Now, management or other employees may find themselves offered incentives or placed under pressure to commit a fraud. You do this fraud, you do this transaction, I'll give you 10%. Okay, you pass this bill, I'll give you 5% kickback. So, for example, extra remuneration or advancement is significantly affected by individual, divisional, or a company performance. Individuals may have an incentive to manipulate the result or to put pressure often to do so. So, pressure may come from, like for example, investors, bankers, other sources of finance. So, they would be creating a pressure, so they will try to do the fraud. Employees will do the fraud. Certain risk factors are usefully considered in the evaluation of whether or not the organization has a greater or a lesser degree of risk. So basically here money plays a very important role. You create a pressure. How do you create? Either emotionally or either financially. You create a pressure on somebody. Let us call it motive or perceived pressure. So they have given a reason, some examples. So mark from here. So from here till here. Then some examples. Like financial stability or profit is threatened by economic, industry or entity operating conditions. Now if imagine if this company was doing a loss, they were making a loss, but if they want more money from the investor or from more money from the bankers or financial institution, they will show a different picture of the financial statement. They will show higher profit. It is a fraud. So the accountant who is passing the entry, he will say, I will not do it. But management will say, okay, we will increase your remuneration by 10%. Then he will do it. So excessive pressure exists for the management to meet that requirement. The example which I gave, personal net worth is materially threatened, like in the fraud of Anil Ambani. So Anil Ambani, because Ambani tag was there, he was window dressing the company. But later on, after some years, it was the clear picture. People got the clear picture. So to maintain that personal image, the company was making financials in a wrong way. This is called as motive or perceived pressure. O, opportunity. My boss will not come only. He comes like once in a month or maybe quarterly. I have full record, full access to everything. I can do it. I can do it. So circumstances may exist that create opportunity for the management other staff to commit a fraud. That is basically a loophole. You have a loophole. When such opportunity arises, those who might not otherwise be inclined to behave dishonestly may be tempted to do so. Nobody will come down. Let's do it, brother. Let's do it. So even individuals under pressure and susceptible to incentive to perpetrate fraud are not a grave threat to the organization unless an opportunity exists. There has to be an opportunity. Okay. Now there is a large amount of cash. So still here you will mark from opportunity till need. Now there is a presence of large amount of cash on hand or inventory items. Nobody will check. Let's take it. There's an inadequate internal control over asset. Like for example, boss ka car is there, boss ka scooty is there. Full petrol it is. Let's go and roam. Valentine week coming. Let's brother enjoy. Inadequate segregation. I am only receiving stock. I am only issuing stock. So obviously I will try to do a fraud. There's an opportunity. Nobody will check me, right? Excess of mandatory job rotation vacation. I have the attendance register. So I can manipulate it. I will sit at home and I will write that I am present in the company. I will create one dummy worker, my brother ka name, and I will take salary in his account. Opportunity is there because nobody checks it. Opportunity. So motive, opportunity. R. Rationalization. Like some people have that habit. I have done it. It is right. Apunij Bhagwan hai. In Hindi we say Apunij Bhagwan hai. I think I am the God. I have done it correct. Yeah, it is right. Everything is fair in love and war, and we are at war. Okay. So some people are more prone than others to commit a fraud. Other things being equal, the propensity to commit fraud depends upon the people ka ethical value. Like people who have been committing fraud, like for example Vijay Mallya. So even though the perception of the Vijay Mallya is, imagine even if he's a good person, but the perception in the market is, he's a fraudster. He is a fraudster. He will to do fraud only. He will to do fraud only. Okay. So it all depends upon the rationalization of a person. Once he had done fraud, every time he will do a fraud. Nirav Modi, fraudster. Okay. So we will mark till here, till promotion. So examples are history of violation of laws is known. They know it. There's a lot of violation of law. Like communication support on the entity ka core value is evident. Little communication. Like when I say Reliance, so people will say, okay, chore. Tata, sir, ethical, very ethical. But it could be vice versa also. Okay. Management has a practice of making overly aggressive or unrealistic forecast. Personal financial obligation creates managed pressure on to misappropriate the assets. That's opportunity. That's rationalization. Adverse relationship between the management and employees motivate employees to misappropriate the asset. If company is not treating the employees very well, so they will have a chance to do fraud. Disregard for the need to monitor or reduce the risk of misappropriating asset exists. Like in articleship, you must be using company ka, CA firm ka calci, CA firm ka printer, CA firm ka green pen, right? Or there's a disregard for internal control. You are not following the internal control system. So these are the examples of more. Motive, opportunity, rationalization. So it's a triangle. So we have studied triangle. Motive, opportunity, rationalization. Understood? Read the fraud triangle. This is 9th answer. Read. Done guys? Cool. So we have completed our total 9 answers. Okay. So we take a pause here. In the next class we'll be continuing from fraud diamond. So I've taught you fraud triangle, and now we'll be doing it from fraud diamond in the next session. Okay. Then I'll be showing you a story also where how the fraud happened, who detected it. Okay. We'll be doing either DHFL ka story or PNB wala story. Okay. In the next class. Okay. Bye guys. Take care. Enjoy and aim for a rank or 70 plus in your regular syllabus, whichever is earlier. Bye guys. Take care. We meet in the next class.